State with an overtime loss and a tie. Got Notre Dame coming in here this weekend, wear white game on Saturday. Head coach Guy Gadowsky will open it up to questions.
Guy, kind of just piggybacking off of John, despite it being a winless weekend, you still were able to come away with 2 points, which is pretty critical in the Big Ten. Besides that positive, what other positives can you take away from that series?
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. It is critical in the Big Ten, but it's equally critical from a national standpoint. So getting a tie both nights, we didn't trail at any point in the weekend. So you look at it, we go on the road against the number 12 team in the nation for pairwise, and we didn't trail at all the entire weekend. There's a lot of positives for that. When you talk about being critical because it's on the road and we got, I think it's 0.5 RPIs and 0.33 RPI, and then on the road bonus like we did from a national standpoint. That was a very positive weekend. However, the guys, anytime you come away from a weekend without a win, no matter how it goes, the guys are a little surly. So that's how we are right now.
What happened in that third period? The first game, you guys were up 2-0, and you guys ultimately lost. What kind of happened there?
Yeah, what happened was we allowed very little plays to change momentum of the game. Great lesson. That's the thing. If you can go on a weekend away and do well from a national standpoint, RPI, and come away with that lesson, that's an excellent weekend. That's what happened. We allowed little plays to change the momentum of the game, and that third period was a little bit like an immature team, to be honest with you. Great reminder, again, if we can learn that lesson, and by the attitude of the guys, I think that one hit home, so that could be a positive down the road for us.
Do you think coming off of a break kind of hurt the endurance of the team, as in both games 2 goalie was blown?
Not the endurance, I don't think so. I think, as a question before, I think it was a mental thing. I don't think it was an endurance physical thing at all. I actually think that we were starting to get comfortable and just did not bear down when we had to. I thought we thought things were coming easy, and we let it slip a little bit. I think it was a mental thing, not a conditioning thing.
A less hockey-related question, but this season, have you or any of the guys had any superstitions, weird pregame rituals that you guys kind of use as fuel throughout the season?
I am sure, and this would be a question for the guys, because I am sure, I know for a fact there are. I think it's probably up to them to decide what they want to tell you or not. As hockey players can be quite superstitious, I will leave that one to them. Is that cool?
Guy, you welcome Notre Dame this weekend. They're lower on the totem pole in the Big Ten, but still a formidable foe. Kind of what are you looking forward to in this rematch now, home ice this time? What do you guess hoping to fill up?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you say lower on the totem pole. They're top 20 team in the nation. I mean, that's what the Big Ten gets. They're excellent. They're excellent. They're not good. They're excellent. I mean, we went there. We played one excellent game, and we played another that we let it slip. So we're going to take it one game at a time, but we're really striving hard for consistency right now. We are. Whether it's because we let it slip late in a period, or we just are not dialed in for the whole 60 minutes. That's our challenge. I know for those who've been here in the past, it's the consistency factor. It's such an easy thing to point to, but it's so true. And the athletes and teams that can really manage momentum and be consistent, I mean, that's really something. And quite honestly, that's our challenge right now.
I guess to piggyback off that, do you feel like you lost some of that consistency in the Michigan State series, or I guess looking to rejuvenate that?
Well, we took our foot off the gas and we allowed momentum to change. So yes, the consistency that when things were going well, we actually allowed it to change. Sometimes it's like, things aren't going well, and you got to change things, and then it goes really worse. This wasn't one of those cases. It was things were going pretty well, and we allowed momentum to shift. But it's still a consistency issue.
Just to jump in real quick, when he says top 20 team in the nation, he's talking pairwise. He's not talking actual national rankings.
Yeah, pairwise.
So that's what you guys were looking at. And when he says Michigan State was 12, we're talking pairwise. We're not talking national rankings. So thanks for clarifying that.
Another aspect of this weekend is with the debuting of New Jersey, whiteout weekend, game 2 of the series. Emotions are going to be definitely pent up, not only for the players but the can you kind of touch into, you know, what that means to have that home atmosphere? And I know you've mentioned it time and time again how important it is, you
Yeah.
know, but I guess reiterate.
It's important and it's awesome. Like, it is awesome. I think you talk to alumni that have been, alumni, you talk to fans, you talk to supporters that have been here for the whiteout games and the unbelievable atmosphere, and you remember them. Like, you remember them. They're special. I honestly, and this year specifically, you know, we played an non-conference opponent on New Year's Eve when no students were here, and it was jammed. That's how great this community is. I mean, they're just so awesome. And just, I'm sure we're gonna have that and more for the whiteout, for a conference opponent, for a great team in Notre Dame. It's gonna be awesome. I mean, this really is a great hockey program, and so much of that, or a lot of that, is give credit to this great community and the students that just make it an amazing atmosphere, and I'm positive that's what we're gonna get.
Guy, how is Ryan progressing back from?
Yeah, it's gonna be wild.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't be, it is not day-to-day by any means yet. It's, he's out, so. You gotta wait a month before we ask those questions again, I believe. Yeah.
So as we mentioned at the beginning of the season, we were talking about the recent additions of Turlins and National Culture, you know, both at the forward spot. Now, you know, you just mentioned that Ryan Kerwin's out. You know, in hindsight, you'd say, oh, it's great that we got them, but now that you have them, what does it feel to have that, you know, added layer of protection for when somebody's as good as Ryan Kerwin?
Yeah, I mean, we have depth, which is awesome, and it's not just attributed to Tour and Ashton, but because you brought them up, honestly, boy, have they fit in well off the ice. Really well on the ice, too, no question. And everybody can see that, but my goodness, have they been great additions off the ice, both of them. And I think you contribute, you know, to the staff that, number one, did their homework on them, and them as people, and that was really, really important. But I tell you what, they understand the importance of culture, and they understand how to fit in. Like, they've been really, really good. They've been really, really big additions to our program, not only on the ice because of depth, but because off the ice as well. Really good.
How do you feel you match up with Notre Dame?
No, it's interesting because we are a very high octane, fast offensive team, and they are known for much other things, which they do extremely well. So our matchups are often they're always really interesting games from a conceptual, philosophical standpoint. And obviously they're Notre Dame. They've had unbelievable success, and they're really good at doing what they do. We've had a lot of success too, and we do what we do. The philosophies are very different, so I think it's whoever can play their game the best often wins. Like, I don't think it's a matter of them changing or us changing. I think we're both going to go and do what we do, and hope that we can execute our game at a very high level. The team that does that has the best chance.
You never want to look too far ahead of anybody, but you have Notre Dame, then you have Ohio State, and I believe it follows up with Michigan. And those are three teams that are really in the thick of the middle of the Big Ten right now, you know, and top of the rankings. How important is these next couple of weeks to, you know, cement yourselves as, you know, one of the top dogs in the conference and nationally as well?
Yeah, you said it, I think, at the start, like how we do things. I mean, we know that as well, but we don't mention it, we don't think of it. We've got Notre Dame Friday night. That's all we have right now, and that's been an important way for us to look at things for a number of reasons, just how we do it. So quite honestly, no mention of that even within the staff. Like, we don't mention it to the team, we don't look at, we're looking at Friday night, that's it.
You know, Coach, there's been a saying that some people say that Penn State, this hockey team, kind of has a slower second half, or not as good second half of the season, whereas Notre Dame is a team that really kicks things off in the second half, which we saw with their split against Minnesota. Do you take into account anything from the outside where people are saying that this is a hockey team that doesn't perform as well in the second half despite how well you played in that first half of the season?
No, and that's no offense to it. Like, no, no matter, I think we have, I'm not sure who they are, there's certain media that do a lot of homework, that understand a lot of things and have a real good insight to a little bit what we're about. And then there's some that look from the outside and really don't know what's going on. So it's just a roundabout way of saying, no, we care about what we talk about, and we use a lot of, we use analytics, video, coaching staff that are very experienced, not only in the game, but with this specific team. Also knowing in terms of little bumps and bruises, injuries, etc. Like, there's a lot of things that go into how we evaluate what's going on that a lot of anybody that's not right in the thick of it doesn't understand. And so if we were going to base our evaluations or judgments or decisions based on what other people think from the outside, we'd be in big trouble.
I'm not quite sure what the whole housing situation is amongst student athletes for the hockey team, but you know, if there are any that do live together, how does that kind of help, you know, that off the ice, being able to spend so much time off the ice, you know, how does that transition and, you know, kind of show on the ice?
Yeah, you know, I think that's actually one of the really cool things about college hockey is these are guys, when you look at a class and how we do it, yeah, they will be living in the same dorm as freshmen, and then often they will move out together in different areas. So you'll have guys that will really spend a lot of time of their college, 4-year college career or less, or more, I guess now with COVID, together. And it's something so unique. So at the end of that experience, if you do it the right way with integrity, and you're here for the right reasons, and you're really committed to those reasons, and you go through the ups and downs together and get better and grow as not only a student, but as an athlete and then as a person, those are bonds that they're just something, they last a lifetime. They absolutely last a lifetime. And I think it's a wonderful thing about college athletics. And, you know, I think it might be understated by the end of the year, not the end of the year, by the end of the day, meaning well in the future, about what's so special about your college experience. And I do think Penn State does it, I hope this doesn't sound like we do it better than anybody else. We do. You look at the culture of the student body with Thon and what they do here, like they really become better people together. And I think the fact that they live together over 4 years and they do it is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. It makes them better people, and it's the true relationships that last a lifetime. And I was just talking to Trevor Hamilton, came and saw us play this weekend, and he was talking about the weddings and they're all getting together, and the guys are coming here for this week. Like, they do things, years have gone by and they're still so tight, and it's wonderful to see.
Time for a few more questions for Guy.
Coach Liam, he is really the only slight, dent on his record this year has been Michigan State. He did allow a lot of goals this past series. Just, I'm curious, why do you think they've had so much success against him? And do you also think, maybe he'll have, I know he's normally calm and collected, but do you think he'll have an extra chip on his shoulder coming into this series?
Well, so if you've seen the goals, that, like, there was how many, 3 of them possibly were backdoor tap-ins. That is not, like, you can't attribute that to him whatsoever. So I actually thought he was really good. The goals that were given up were not goaltender issues by any means. So no, so I don't really want to answer for him, but knowing him, I don't think he gets an extra, like, I think he's the way he is, regardless whether he just got a shutout or he got pulled after 5 goals and 6 shots. Like, I haven't seen it. Like, I have from him, you can't tell. You can't tell. It's so weird. So no, I've never seen him with a chip on his shoulder. I've never seen him I can't explain it. I don't mean to shirk the question. It's just weird. Like, I can't get anything off of him.
Gotcha.
Time for one final question for Guy.
You know, Coach, coming off of this weekend, where in the Big Ten standings so far, it's been not the best weekend for you guys, but obviously the pairwise you moved up, but coming back home in one of the most anticipated series, at least for the fans, probably for some of the players too, who wear white. Do you think that probably is making this previous series where the power play wasn't really clicking in, there were a lot blown, the multi-goal leads? Do you think this coming back home and playing in such an anticipated series, it might be like best case scenario for some of these guys going from being on the road and not playing for a long time, coming back home in front of such a raucous crowd?
I mean, anytime we play at Pagula, like I said, we played in front of an absolute packed house when the students were gone, and New New Year's Eve against a non-conference opponent. Like, that's how great it is here. So anytime we play here, it is awesome. I mean, honestly, anytime. I think this will be a little bit more elevated. It's Notre Dame, it's a conference opponent, it's where we are in the season, it's where we are in a national level and the Big Ten. There's a lot of things that really get excited for this weekend, including wear white. I think we're all really excited about this weekend for a number of reasons. I can leave it at that, and if you don't mind, because I know it was the last question, you brought up a really good point, John. Like, can I just explain real quick, in terms of pairwise, how, like, it's different than other sports in terms of at the end of the year, the NCAA committee. We do have an NCAA tournament committee, just like other sports, but it's different in the fact that hockey, I believe, is the only sport that looks 100% solely on the numbers. So the pairwise ratings that we're talking about is really the ultimate important thing. And I think it's been a number of years that they've even altered it. Like, the committee they do have the authority to change, but they've gone exactly as the pairwise goes for I want to say it's over 20 years, something like that. I don't know that exactly. But so when we talk about, at least internally, about rankings and where we're at, that's why we always use pairwise.
Thanks,
Is
guys.
that cool? Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
thank you.